What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Aries Moon. I am here with my very special guest host, the one, the only
Infinite G.
Infinite G, and this is another episode of the Infinite Podcast as well. When we do these discussions together, it's cool because I can put it on my YouTube channel along with your YouTube channel because the message is really for adults and children.
Right.
So today I wanted to talk about the importance of communication and communicating your feelings, because the last few weeks Dad has really had a hard time communicating what he's going through, and I've really been struggling with that. And to be completely honest, throughout my entire life, Dad has struggled with communicating how he's feeling, communicating and expressing himself, and that has really caused a lot of issues in my life. And this past Mercury retrograde, I really understood that communication is a very, very weak trait that I possess. Communication is where I lack in my life, and I know that once I become a better communicator and I am able to express my feelings, life is going to get easier for me. But right now, Dad is not the best communicator. And I own this, and I finally accepted this past Mercury retrograde, because during a Mercury retrograde, you're going to have a lot of miscommunication, and that sure has happened. I mean, I experienced that with Feliz, and I feel like if I was just able to communicate my feelings properly, maybe I don't go through that with her. And it's just, that's been a theme in my life throughout my entire life, is just I can't communicate my feelings properly. And I own that. So it's something that I really want to get better at. And it's something that I want to talk to you about because it's very important. And if you can understand this and learn how to do this at a young age, at 10, you're going to be able to get through life a lot easier than Dad has. It's taken me 41 years to accept that I'm not a great communicator and to realize that I have to learn how to communicate properly because I can't. And I think for me, sometimes it's hard for me to communicate my own feelings because I don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going through something and I need to express what I'm going through, but I hold it in because I don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. But ultimately, when you do that and you suppress your feelings and you hold them inside, it's not good for you or the other person, because in the long run, you're hurting both of you, right?
Yeah.
It's important for you to express your feelings to me no matter what it is you're feeling. I want you to be able to come to me and express what you're going through no matter what it is. And Dad is never going to judge you. Dad is never going to tell you that your feelings aren't valid. Your feelings are very valid, and what you're going through inside is important. So I never want, and no matter what it is, I want you to be comfortable enough to come to me and to express what it is you're feeling and going through, because I love you. I'm never going to judge you. I always have your back. No matter what it is you're thinking or feeling, I want you to be able to be confident enough and comfortable enough to come to me and express what it is you're feeling. I never want you to have to hold in your feelings inside, because that's no way to live. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're feeling, even if it's something bad and you're confused about it, please just know that you can come to me and express what it is you're feeling no matter what it is, okay?
Okay.
Because you're welcome. And I really mean that. I really don't want you to ever feel like you can't come to me because you're afraid of how I'm going to react, okay? I have your back 110%, and I know your soul, I know your heart, I know you're good, and I just want you to know that this is a safe space for you to communicate what it is you're feeling. And just I want you to just be able to communicate with me no matter what it is. And I do feel like you do communicate a lot with me. You express a lot of things. You had an incident with Christian happen, and we won't go into details because it's embarrassing for you, but you communicated it with me, right? You communicated something that you were going through with your friend, and you felt comfortable enough to communicate that with me.
Yeah.
And that's important. And it's just important for a child to be able to communicate their thoughts and their feelings with their parent. And sometimes growing up as a child, I didn't feel like I could do that. And I think that as I got older, that stuck with me, and that's why it's really hard for dad to communicate what he's feeling and going through sometimes. So it's not easy to navigate through life not being able to communicate what you're feeling and what you're going through. And I really feel like I've been struggling a lot this last month and a half because of that. And I'm learning that it's important to communicate my thoughts and my feelings, and to also realize that what I have to say is important, because I spent so much of my life thinking that what I had to say did not matter and it wasn't important. And do you think that's true?
No.
Don't you feel that what I have to say, what everybody has to say, is important and it does matter?
Yeah.
We all have a voice, and we all have the right to use our voice. So that's something that I'm really coming into now. That's why these podcasts are so important for me. That's why I almost force myself to get on these lives, to get on these podcasts, to express myself, because I couldn't do that always. It was very difficult for me to express my feelings, and I don't want that for you. I want you to grow up being able to express yourself and express your feelings. So are there any questions? Is there anything that you want to express that you're going through right now? Is there anything that you want to talk about?
No, I'm not really going through anything.
No?
No.
Is there anything that you want to express?
I don't really have anything
to express? I just want you to be able to come to me no matter what it is, no matter, even if it's something bad, maybe if it's something bad that you did or something bad that you're going through. Like, I don't want you to hold it in. I want you to be there. I want you to be able to come to me and express what you're going through, because I will be there to give you guidance and support you. And you never bother me. You've never once bothered me. I've never once been doing something and you've come to me to talk to me and I felt like you're bothering me. I hope you know that, because I've lived my life in my childhood experiencing like I felt like I was bothering my parent when I came to them to talk to them. And I just don't want that for you. Like, I want you to be able to come to me no matter how big or how small the problem is, no matter what it is that you're feeling emotionally, because expressing our emotions is crucial. It's crucial, and good communication skills are very, very important to have in the game of life. If you have good communication skills and you're able to communicate efficiently and effectively and properly, you're going to be ahead of everybody. You're going to be a step ahead in this game of life. But if you hold it in and you don't communicate what you're going through and what you're feeling, you're going to struggle. And take it from my personal experience. I've struggled because communication is one of my weaker qualities that I possess. In astrology, Dad was born during a Mercury retrograde. So some of us have a harder time expressing themselves. And Dad falls in that category. Like, I have a very, very hard time expressing what I'm going through. And what do you think about that?
Sorry to hear that. I said I was sorry to hear that.
You're sorry to hear that? You feel bad?
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel bad, but I just don't want you to make the same mistakes that I've made in life, because not being able to properly communicate what I'm feeling, that's a mistake. That's a mistake that I had to learn the hard way and finally understand, okay, this is where I'm going wrong in life, and this is the adjustment that I need to make in order to succeed and get through life easier. When you can communicate properly, life is a lot easier. But when you are a bad communicator like Dad is, you struggle. And I feel like that was part of the reason your mom and I had issues, was because Dad could not communicate properly what he was going through or what he was feeling. I just bottled it up inside. I just kept all my emotions inside until the littlest thing set me off, and then it all came out. and it all came out in a very angry manner, and it was just a poor way to communicate. So it's important for me to communicate with you, and I feel like our communication is very good. You communicate what you're feeling with me, I feel, and like when we were playing basketball, and Dad does admit that sometimes he's very passionate and he gets upset and he does cuss sometimes, and that's not easy for me to get on the podcast and admit, but I'm going to keep it real 100%. Like, I'm not perfect. Dad does make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes Dad does say a bad word. And you communicated that sometimes makes you uncomfortable. And because you communicated that, it did something to Dad. It really made him stop to think, oh, wow, that makes him uncomfortable. And I need to stop doing that because I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I don't want to make you uncomfortable with words that I use because I can't control myself sometimes. And yesterday we were playing 2K22, and I did cuss a little bit, and I had to catch myself because I can't be acting like that in front of you. I need to set the example for you. And sometimes I feel like you're the one setting the example for me, and I'm learning from you. And like I said before, you are one of my greatest mentors. So I am learning.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are. I am learning a great deal from you. I am. But it's because you're able to communicate properly and to communicate your feelings properly that I was able to realize that. I come from the stock market, and for 20 years I sat in the stock market, and you don't understand how much people cuss there, right? So there's this saying that you become a product of your environment, which means that when you are in a certain surroundings, like, you become that, right? So
I get it.
You get that?
Yeah.
So sitting in that for 20 years, I started to become that. And I became that so much that I don't even realize that I'm using bad language. It's just natural for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm learning to let that part of me go and make adjustments because I don't want to say bad words around you. I really don't. And I know that I struggle in that area sometimes, and I own that and I admit it, but I take what you had to say to heart, and I haven't perfected it yet, but I'm slowly getting there because I know that it makes you uncomfortable, and that's not anything that I don't want to ever make you feel uncomfortable.
Thank you.
I don't, because I'm projecting bad words or anger. I don't want to do that to you. I love you. I consider your feelings. I consider your feelings because you express what you're feeling. So I'm proud of you because you're able to express what you're feeling.
Thank you.
And I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? I just couldn't. I still have trouble doing that. And that's an area in my life where I know I need to improve. I know I need to get better at expressing my feelings and expressing my thoughts and communicating properly. So if you're watching this, just know that communication is everything, and that's how we get through this game of life. That's how we get through life, is by communicating properly with each other, by communicating what you're feeling with one another properly. And if you can do that, you are a step ahead of most people, because a lot of people cannot communicate their feelings properly, and Dad falls in that category. Up until recently, I'm finally starting to realize that the more I communicate my feelings and what I'm going through and talk it out, the easier things get. But when I hold it in, if I'm going through something with somebody and I am feeling a certain way towards somebody, and they don't know that I'm feeling that way because I'm holding it inside, how are they supposed to know that I'm feeling this way?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Dad is guilty of holding his feelings inside because Dad doesn't want to communicate his feelings because he's afraid that he's going to hurt somebody else's feelings. But that is ultimately hurting me. It's hurting me by keeping that inside and by not communicating what I'm going through, what I'm feeling, and what I'm thinking. And this is a lesson that I had to learn the very hard way, and it's taken me 41 years to finally get it. And that's a long time. That's a long time for somebody to the universe is going to present lessons to you over and over and over and over for as many years as it takes until you finally learn the lesson. That's how this works, right?
Yeah.
So the universe has been giving me lesson after lesson after lesson about communicating properly, and Dad has failed every single time because Dad does not know how to communicate properly up until recently, and something finally clicked. I'm like, I'm not the best communicator. I can't communicate my feelings. Sometimes I get so passionate and in my feelings, and I'm so emotional that I communicate based off my emotions, and that is not proper. That's not the proper way to do it. Dad has to realize that he has to take a step back, take a deep breath, process how he's feeling, and then communicate. But I communicate based off my emotions. Does that make sense? So if I'm very emotional, so if I'm feeling a certain way, if I'm feeling certain emotions, that's how I start to communicate, is based off my emotions. And you can't do that either. You have to be able to process it, take it in, think about it, and then communicate what you're feeling. Not just feel something and communicate it right away. Like, I can't do that anymore. So that's another lesson in life that the universe keeps presenting to me, and that I keep failing up until recently. Like, I can't communicate based purely off my emotions. I have to sit in it and process it and feel what I'm feeling, and then communicate what I'm feeling. And I feel like you're very grounded. You're a Virgo with the Taurus moon, so there's a lot of earth in your chart, and you are very grounded. So that's very good. Like, I have to learn that from you.
I want to be grounded though.
Being grounded is good. You said you do?
No, I don't want to be grounded.
No, not that kind of grounded. No, but being grounded means you're just like, you're grounded. Like, it's good to be grounded.
Like what we did at the river over there.
Yes, when we grounded, and yes.
And we just sat there and
we meditated. We took off our shoes. We connected with Mother Earth, because when you take off your shoes and you walk barefoot and you connect to Mother Earth, it does help ground you. And Dad has no earth in his natal chart, so he's not grounded. I admit that I'm not grounded, and that is also something that I'm learning, is to become grounded and balanced. And it's not easy for Dad, but I feel like it's easier for you. You're a very grounded soul, and I'm learning how to be grounded from my son. So that's amazing. But
thank you.
I just want to let you know, like, how proud I am of you, because you are a great communicator. You're a great leader, and you're just a great soul, and I'm just so proud of you. And I know I communicate that with you often, but I need to communicate that to you every single day, because that's how I feel about you. Like, I look up to you in a lot of ways. That's true, yeah. I think about you all the time. And I think about what a positive effect that you have on my life, and I can't imagine my life without you in it. Like, you have been one of my greatest teachers and my greatest blessings and my best friend, and Dad is so grateful for you. Thank you. I love you so much. That's from the heart. I truly do. Like, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud to call you my son and my best friend. So
thank you.
But it's important for me to have this conversation with you, because I don't want you to ever be afraid. I don't want you to ever think that you can't come to me and tell me something because you're afraid that it might hurt my feelings, or you're afraid that I'm going to get mad. Like, Dad, if it's bad, or you did something bad, Dad might be a little disappointed or upset, but that's part of it. And I still have your back, and I'm still going to be there to have your back and to help you get through whatever issue you might have in life. But as long as you can come to me and communicate what you're going through, that's the most important part. I don't want you to keep anything bottled up inside like Dad did, because that is not good for your soul. It's not good for your soul to keep things bottled up inside. It's not good for your soul to not be able to communicate properly. Communication is key in this game of life that we're in. I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress how important communicating is. And it's something that it's something this past Mercury retrograde that the universe kept giving me all these challenges, that I kept failing, that I finally realized you need to step it up with your communication. And I do. So there's so many things that I need to communicate. I need to communicate to P. Diddy, like, how bad I want to go to his wedding, but how much I've been struggling financially, and and how embarrassed I am. Like, I am keeping that inside because I'm embarrassed and I can't communicate it. But is something that I need to, because I don't want him to think that I don't want to go to his wedding and be a part of his special day. But that's something that I've been sitting in today. Like, I need to call him and communicate what I'm going through and how I'm feeling. And sometimes it's just hard for me to communicate my feelings because I feel embarrassed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I do. Sometimes I feel embarrassed with my situation, or maybe how I'm feeling, or maybe a certain situation that I'm in, that I'm going through, and I feel embarrassed about it. And sometimes I feel like I have nobody to talk to, or sometimes I feel like I'm not able to talk about it. And that part is not easy. It's not easy to go through life feeling all these things and keeping them bottled inside, and feeling like you have nobody to talk to. Like, it's really hard. So I thank you for sitting here with me to just allow me to express this on our podcast. And to you, it's really important for me sometimes to just be able to talk. And you're like one of the best listeners that I have in my life.
Thank you.
You really do. Thank you. Because you really do just sit there and listen to me.
You're welcome.
You do. And human beings need that. We need that with each other. We need to be able to sit and talk and express ourselves and express our feelings and express what we're going through in life, because this game of life that we're in, not necessarily the easiest thing to navigate through. It's not an easy game that we're in. It's hard. There's a lot of challenges in life that we have to overcome and get through to evolve our soul and to grow our soul. But a lot of these challenges are not easy to go through, especially when you feel like you're alone and you have nobody to talk to, or nobody listens to you, or that you struggle communicating what you're going through and what you're feeling. So the fact that I have you to sit here and to do these podcasts, and to, even when we don't do the podcast, I do still feel like I talk to you about things, and like I'm able to communicate what I'm going through. Like, I was able to communicate what I'm going through with Feliz and things like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I even sat there one day and started crying and was like communicating what I was going through, and you came and you gave me a hug and you were there to support me. And it's like, if I didn't have that, I don't know where I'd be. Like, that was very important for me, to have you there to listen to me and then to comfort me and give me a hug and to give me support. And we all need that support system. Like I said before, like, support goes a very long way. And even if it's just sitting down with somebody and letting them talk and listening to what they have to say, that goes a long way. It's hard for me to reach out to men. I know that sounds weird, but I went through things as a child and I grew up, and it's hard for me to reach out to men. It takes me a very long time to open up to men. And I did call Charles like last week, or the week that you went to the podcast with me. That day I gave him a call and was like, look, I just need somebody to talk to. I'm going through this and I just need somebody to talk to. And he was like, okay, do you need somebody to listen, or do you need somebody, do you want to hear feedback? I'm like, I want both. I want you to listen, and then I want to hear your perspective on it. And he sat there and he let me talk, and he listened to me, and then he gave me his feedback. And I needed that. I needed that from a man, because Dad is very connected to women and he feels very comfortable expressing himself to women, but he doesn't feel that comfortable expressing himself to men right now. And there's a reason behind that we can get into more one day, but I just don't. And I'm learning that I need that balance of masculine and feminine energy to get through life. And I do need men to like just be able to sit down and talk to. And he was there for me, and I was able to express what I was going through. And he was there to lend me his support and lend me his advice. And I took it to heart. And I just needed that day. It was really important. So something made me call him. And I'm glad that I did, because I did feel better after I talked to him. And I felt better after I was able to express myself and communicate my feelings and communicate what it is I was going through. I'm grateful for him. I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for everyone in my life that has allowed me to express myself and has sat there and listened to me, because it really helps me. It does. And at some point, Dad does want to go to a therapist. So I have a professional that will sit there and talk to me and give me their unbiased perspective. You know what I mean? Do you know what it means to be unbiased? To not like go either way, to not take my side, to not take the other person's side, to just give an unbiased perspective. That's what unbiased means, is to not choose sides, right? So, people who go, there's like a stigma. A lot of people are embarrassed to go to a therapist and to talk, but I think we all could use one. I think we all could use somebody that we can just talk to and be able to express what we're going through and communicate our feelings properly. It's really important, because trust me, and I say this from experience, keeping that inside and bottling that up is detrimental to your health, and detrimental means it's bad for you. It does not do you any good. It's bad for you. It's bad for your mental health. So it's detrimental to your mental health. And I no longer want to hold my feelings inside. I no longer want to be afraid to communicate what I'm going through. I just don't. I want to be able to express myself and communicate as effectively and properly as I possibly can, and I want that for you too. So this is why I felt the need to get on our podcast today, Aries Moon and Infinite G, 2 separate podcasts, because it's important. And it's also important for children to realize at a very young age how important it is to express yourself and express your feelings and to communicate what you're going through, and to just communicate. It's important to communicate with each other. That's how we get through this. We're in times of a lot of misinformation and miscommunication. And the only way that we can all get through this game of life together and thrive together and live harmoniously is if we communicate with each other properly. And it starts with communication. It truly does. So that's what this podcast was about today. And I thank you, G, for sitting here with me and just letting me talk and vent and express myself, because
you're welcome.
It's important for me. That's really why I force myself to go on my lives and to do my podcast, is because I just need to get this out. And I do feel better. I do feel like a weight has been lifted off of my soul when I do talk and get this out and I do communicate what I'm going through. It's important for me. And, it's important for me as well to be able to communicate my feelings with men, because that's something that I struggle with. So I have you, I have Charles, even Papa lately. I feel like I can communicate with him. My coworker Bailey, he's a man. I feel like I can communicate with him, and that's nice to have. It's just nice. It's nice to finally be able to it's finally nice to be able to start to communicate with men, because I need that balance. But all right, I feel a lot better talking about all this. I truly do. I do. Yeah. I'm so grateful for your support. Like, you're such a big support system for me.
Thank you.
You are, man. Like, thank you. It gets me emotional because, like, I don't know what I would do without you. And I don't know where I would be without your love and your support. It really helps me a lot get through life. So I'm so grateful that you're here with me.
Thank you.
I am. Everything that I had to go through, as hard as it was to go through a divorce and all that, I would do it a million times over just to get you here. Like, I had to go through all of that so you would be here with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And all that heartache and all that was worth it to get you here, because you are just such an important piece of my life, and I'm very grateful for you.
Thank you.
I am. I can't express that enough. I thank God every day that you aren't in my life. And I am blessed with such an amazing soul for a son, and it's just like, I'm just very blessed. I am, and I'm just so grateful. So we talk about gratitude, like, I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful to have you not only as my son, but my best friend. So with that being said, Infinite G and Dad, I do want to start doing podcasts where you talk a little bit more. We have like conversations where we go back and forth. So like certain topics like this, I feel like I just want you to like sit there and listen. But I also want to hear your input on certain subjects and hear your perspective on it. That's, it's cool to hear a child's perspective on things, because when I hear your perspective on certain things, it changes my perspective on it, and it makes me want to do better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you said that it makes you uncomfortable when I cuss, I really took that to heart. And I haven't overcome that fully yet because I'm still trying to get that out of my system. But just know that when you told me that, I took it to heart and it made me want to be better and do better because I know that it could be affecting you in a negative way. And I don't want to do that. I want to be a positive force in your life always. I don't want to make you uncomfortable ever. So I needed to hear that. But the fact that you had the courage to communicate your feelings, that's what it's all about. You should be proud of yourself.
I am.
Good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. With that being said, Infinite G, Aries Moon, we are here to share our story. We are here to share our journey. We are here to share our failures in life. And we are here to share our triumphs in life because there is a lot of failure, but we are succeeding as well. And this game of life is not easy to navigate through, but we're doing the best that we can, and we are getting better every single day. And that's what it's ultimately all about. It's just becoming a better version of yourself every single day. And that's what Dad strives to do. And if having you by my side, I told you earlier, you make me want to be a better man. And that's true. You make me want to be a better soul.
Thank you.
You truly do. So I'm grateful for you.
Thank you.
We love you all so much. We thank everybody who has supported us. We are 5 subscribers away from reaching our next goal of 400. That's a huge deal. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm very honored that people have taken the time to subscribe and support us. And we just thank you because the support goes such a long way. It truly does. And we're about to be at 400. I say by the end of March, we'll be at 5. Maybe even by the end of February. Who knows? But March, I'm shooting for 500 by the end of March. And we're going to get there. But just got to keep pushing forward and just continue to share our lives. And that's what it's all about. So one love, peace, and equality for everybody out there always. Infinite G and Aries Moon, we love you truly, and we thank you for your support, and peace.